What's up, you guys? Today in this video, I'm going to be showing an updated version of how to connect the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset with the game DAC to my PlayStation 5 Pro using a MacBook Pro M3 Max running Elgato Studio and OBS Studio. In my initial video, I showed that you were able to download the Elgato Capture Device Utility software from the Elgato website to your Mac. You were able to configure and update the firmware on the Elgato 4KX game capture card. So it was brought up to my attention from one of the comments for one of the videos that I did that the Elgato Capture Device Utility was not available on the Elgato website anymore. Elgato discontinued the software. So the new Elgato software that you are able to configure and update the firmware for your Elgato game capture cards is the Elgato Studio. You can download that program both for Mac and for Windows. So in this video, I'm going to be using the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset along with the game hub that it comes with. I'm going to be using the Elgato 4KX game capture card along with the Elgato Chat Link Pro cable. So for the game hub, for the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wireless, this is the front, and then this is the back. A line in, a line out, USB-C port. We're gonna be using the one that's labeled USB because the other one is for Xbox only. So for the Chat Link Pro, we're gonna first get the male connector that splits off from the Y splitter. We're gonna connect that to the line out on the game hub. We're gonna connect a USB-C cable to the USB one and connect that one to the PlayStation 5 Pro. And then for the Elgato 4KX, we're gonna connect the other male connector to the aux port. And for this end, if you want a truly wireless connector, you don't connect anything. If you wanted a wire connector, then you connect the aux cable from here to the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset. So with this setup, I could use the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset wirelessly. I don't have to connect any wires to it. And then I could use the PlayStation 5 DualSense Edge controller wirelessly. Also, I don't have to connect the aux cable here from the Chat Link Pro. If I wanted to make it a wired connection for the headset, then on the female port on the Elgato Chat Link Pro, I just connect the aux cable here and then connect the aux cable to the aux port here on the Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset. Now without any wires, I can have more freedom of motion. I don't have to constrain on having the wires here or being careful I don't trip on the wires either. So right now I'm going to go to settings. Then from settings, we're going to go to system. Then we're going to go to HDMI. And then you're going to go to where it says enable HDCP. By default, this is going to be toggled on. You want to toggle it off because if you leave it on, you cannot capture any gameplay using any game capture card. So you need to turn this off. You just select this to turn it off, and then you're able to use, for this instance, the Elgato 4KX. For the PlayStation 5 Pro, I'll be using the Elgato 4KX game capture card in order to configure and update the firmware on the Elgato 4KX. You'll need to go to the Elgato website. You go to the download section, you click on it, you scroll down, and we're here on the Mac side. And we're going to be downloading the Elgato Studio for Mac. So you just hit download. From my previous video, I showed that you were able to download the Elgato Capture Device Utility, but since the time of the recording and up to right now, Elgato discontinued that program and you're not able to download that specific program off their website. So now the only program you could download that's compatible with the game capture cards is the Elgato Studio for both Mac and Windows. So once you downloaded Elgato Studio on your Mac, you open it. Now we connect the Elgato 4KX to the MacBook Pro M3. So now the Elgato 4KX is connected. And we're going to check if it needs a firmware update. So you go up here, and so far I believe it's running the latest firmware, because if it needed another firmware update, it'll show up right here. In order to configure the Elgato 4KX, we'll need to go to the right hand corner to this tab. You click on it, and then you have the different settings you could change. So for recording, you could change the different resolutions, different frame rates, the bit rate, and the format for video. For the video, we have different options here, and then for the audio too. So by default, the audio input is set at HDMI audio. This option is good if you just want to get audio from gameplay, but if you're gonna be using a headset and be part of a party chat, then you're not able to hear the party chat nor the game audio once you connect the Elgato Chat Link Pro to the Elgato 4KX. So you need to go here and select analog audio. Once you select that, now you're able to get audio from the Elgato Chat Link Pro, which mixes the gameplay and the party chat audio together. On the video section, we are gonna be enabling the 10 gigabit per second mode. So in order to get that option, because by default it is hidden, you need to hit and hold the command key. Then you click on this icon here on the right hand corner. Then you can let go of everything. You get the 10 gigabit per second mode option, and we're gonna toggle that on. Then it resets. To see if we got that option, we're gonna do the same thing. Hold command key and click on here. And as you see, it is enabled now. The reason why you want to enable the 10 gigabit per second mode is because by default, when using a Mac, the Elgato 4KX is configured as a 5 gigabit device, which means the highest resolution you could capture gameplay is at 4K 30 frames per second. If you want to capture at a higher frame rate, then you need to enable this option to configure the Elgato 4KX as a 10 gigabit per second device. Once enabled, you're able to record at a higher frame rate. If you follow my previous video and were able to download the Elgato Capture Device utility, then you're still able to use that program on your Mac. Not sure if it'll still support updating the firmware. The Elgato 4KX at the time of this recording is at the latest firmware. You're able to change different options here. So in order to capture the video feed and audio feed from the Elgato 4KX, you will need to go to obsproject.com. That's the official OBS Studio website. And then you could choose the Windows version, the Mac OS version, or the Linux version. For this situation, because I'm using the MacBook Pro M3 Max, we're gonna choose the Mac OS. So you click on Mac OS, and then from that option, they have the Intel versions. That's the older MacBooks that have the Intel i7 chips. And then you have the macOS Apple Silicon, which is the M1, M2, M3, M4, M5 chips. So for my MacBook Pro M3 Max, I'll be choosing this one. So you click on here, and then you can download it. Once OBS Studio finished downloading, then you open the application and start the initial setup, where you have to choose a streaming platform so you can sign in. For my case, I chose Twitch. Setup, and then set up the scenes and sources. Okay, we're gonna connect the Elgato 4KX to OBS Studio on my MacBook Pro M3 Max. So once you download OBS Studio on your Mac, then you open it, you create a scene by clicking here, typing in a scene name, and hitting OK. Then in sources, we're gonna go to the bottom here for the plus sign, add source. We're gonna click on it. Then we're gonna go to video capture device. You're gonna click on that one. Then we're gonna name the device. I'm gonna name it 4KX. Hit OK. And then we go to device here. We're gonna go to the Elgato 4KX. Then because we want more control, so we're not going to use the presets, so we're going to switch it to 4K, and then you switch it to 60 frames per second, then you hit OK, We're gonna move it out of the way, make it a little bit smaller. So I have my Elgato 4KX connected currently to my PS5 Pro, so I can move it. So for the Mac, you have to do an extra step because just creating the video capture device only captures the video being captured by the Elgato 4KX, not the audio. For the audio, you need to go back to Add Source. You go to Audio Input Capture. We're gonna name it 4KX Audio for this example, and you hit OK. Then on device, you click here. Then you select the Elgato 4KX. That's how you need it. But here you go on Audio Mixer. You right click on the one we just created, the 4KX Audio. You right click it, go to Advanced Audio Properties, and then that's the first one here. We go all the way to where it says Audio Monitoring. Then we're gonna select the option that says Monitor and Output. Then you hit close. So now the Elgato 4KX is all set up in OBS Studio to capture 4K resolution footage with audio. So in order to customize the sound profile and update the firmware on the Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset, you need to go over to the SteelSeries website, go to software, and then you're gonna download the SteelSeries GG app that's compatible with Windows only. So you need to have access to a PC or have a virtual machine running Windows 11 on your MacBook. On my MacBook Pro M3 Max, I have Parallels Desktop Virtual Machine running Windows 11 Pro Canary. There is a mobile companion app SteelSeries made, but it's not compatible with the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wireless. So once you download it and you open it, you're going to be able to customize it. You just have to plug in the Game Hub and your headset to your MacBook or PC. As you can see, I already have both the Arctis Nova Elite headset and the Arctis Nova Pro wireless already. So this is if you want to customize the sound profile, update the firmware on the headset and the Game Hub on the Arctis Nova Pro wireless. So right now I just connected the Game Hub for the Arctis Nova Pro wireless just so I can show the different options you get on the SteelSeries GG app. I still need to connect the headset. I'm using a preset right now. You can change the mic level, other stuff, and you could also configure the Game Hub itself. That's pretty much it. And if you sign up for an account with SteelSeries GG app, then you're able to use Sonar. Where you can customize it even further. You still need to play around with this. On your PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 5 Pro, you need to press the PlayStation button. So you get this menu. You go to the mic. So right now I'm using the Arctis Nova Pro wireless. And then the sound, make sure it shows the USB headset. And then this one will be the Arctis Nova Pro wireless. Now you'll be able to hear gameplay on your headset and use the mic on your headset. So this is my setup for the PlayStation 5 Pro using the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset. So right now I have the PlayStation 5 on, and you can see it on the TV screen, and you can see it on OBS Studio on my MacBook Pro M3 Max. So the cables I've connected would be the power cable, and then this USB-C Thunderbolt 5 cable goes to the Elgato 4KX. This USB-C Thunderbolt cable goes to the external SSD drive that I have here. On this side, I have connected the DJI Mic 2, the receiver. I have the transmitter on me right now. On the Elgato 4KX, we have this HDMI in cable, comes from the PlayStation 5 Pro. This middle cable is the Thunderbolt 5 USB-C cable that goes to the MacBook Pro M3 Max. And then this HDMI out cable goes to the TV. Right here you have Elgato Chat Link Pro connected to the aux port here. And you have the other male connector connected to the line out of the game hub from the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro Wireless. And then you have the USB-C cable connected to the USB port, not the Xbox port. And this one's connected to the PlayStation 5 Pro. The female end, there's nothing connected. The SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro Wireless headset, there is no wires connected to it. And you can hear the sound of the game coming from the headset. For the Sony DualSense Edge controller, there is no wires connected to it. So this is my setup for recording gameplay. For streaming, I'll be using the Insta360 Link 2 webcam. This is the complete setup both for recording gameplay and streaming.